Chapter 10. As they walked away from Mr. and Mrs. Cave, Corky brushed the ash from Ruskin's hair, and Ruskin ran his fingers along the dark brick beside him. "Tell me, my dear boy," Corky said, tapping one of the bricks with his walking stick, "do you know what made the bricks so dark?" "No," Ruskin replied. "What?" "Well," Corky began, "the bricks were made dark by—" Corky was interrupted by a voice asking, "Do you want something?" The voice belonged to Sparky's mum, Mrs. Walnut, who was just about to close her grocer's shop. She was a small, thin woman with short, curly hair, who always smelt of potatoes, and wore a green apron. "You're closing early today, Mrs. Walnut," Corky remarked. "I know," she said, "but as you see I'm having to put in a new shop window. Didn't you hear the noise? Alvis broke my old one with that ball while he was sleepwalking last night." "We all sleep so very deeply on Lizard Street," commented Corky. "I'm afraid I didn't hear a thing." "Well, one day," Mrs. Walnut went on, "we'll wake from our very deep sleeps to find all our windows smashed to smithereens. You mark my words." From down the street Mrs. Cave could be heard shouting, "Alvy baby, time for your tea." Mrs. Walnut looked into her shop and called, "Alvis, your mum's calling." There was a pause, and then da-boing, da-boing. Alvis came out with Sparky. "I want an iced lolly," Alvis said. "You've had enough iced lollies," Mrs. Walnut said, "and besides, your mum's got your tea ready." "I always have an iced lolly before tea," Alvis growled. "Don't I, Sparky?" Yes, sir," Sparky said. "Oh, take one and go," Mrs. Walnut said, sighing. Alvis took a handful of iced lollies from the shop freezer, then walked down Lizard Street towards the pub, closely followed by Sparky. "Sparky used to be such a nice boy," Mrs. Walnut said. "He's changed completely since Alvis grew so big. Why aren't you friends with Sparky any more, Ruskin?" "I want to be," Ruskin replied, "but Sparky doesn't." Corky said, "Actually, I do want something from your shop before you close, Mrs. Walnut. I'll have a packet of chocolate biscuits." "Oh, nice." Mrs. Walnut went into the shop to get the biscuits. When she returned, she handed them to Corky, saying, "I hope the chocolate hasn't melted. The sun's melting everything else. If we don't get some rain soon, the sun will melt the whole street away." "I'm sure it will cool down soon," Corky said. "Nothing lasts forever. It's just lasts for little whiles at a time." And then he added, "Come on, Ruskin, let's go and have our tea and biscuits." As they walked down the road, Ruskin tripped over a bump in the road. "Tell me," Corky said, tapping one of the bumps with his walking stick, "do you know what made those bumps and holes?" "No," Ruskin replied. "What?" "Well," Corky began, "the bumps and holes were made by—" Corky was interrupted by a voice saying, "We've got a new film."